I'm starting this look by using my Helen E Backstage Eyeshadow Primer to go all over the lid and act as a nice base for my eyeshadow. I'm using a flat brush to carve out the eyebrow. For this look, I'm keeping most of the base on the eyelid. I don't want to put a lot of product towards the eyebrow because I want this look to be soft and more blown out, so I don't want to create any harsh lines. To set the base, I just lightly dab over it with a beauty blender. Using a large fluffy brush like a MAC 224, apply the shade MAC Wedge all over the crease and blow it out as far as possible so that you can't see where it starts and where it finishes. When applying eyeshadow, I always find it best to have your starting point wherever you want the most depth. So I want this eyeshadow to be quite rounded, so I'm always starting in the centre of my eye and working around to the left and to the right. So little tip for you. Also, if you want your eyeshadow more winged, you should always start on the outer edge and softly go inwards. Taking a MAC 217 and a slightly darker cool brown, such as the Anastasia Beverly Hills in Warm Taupe, I'm using that to deepen the crease a little more and blending that outwards so that you can't see any lines again. Using a flat brush and the Maybelline gel liner, I'm just really lightly patting this onto the lid. I'm not using a lot of product, but I am really blending it into that brown shade, concentrating mostly towards the lash line. And then, because your fingers are warm, it makes the eyeshadows melt together better, so I just dab it together then, just to blend it in to the eyeshadow with my fingers. You really don't need to be too neat with this type of look. It is a grungy look, so anything goes. I'm just going in with that darker cool brown and just blending in that black to the brown. Now on a flat brush, I'm just covering over that black gel liner with Anastasia Beverly Hills Truffle Glitter. And this is just going to create a bit of a shimmery shade ready for the next colour. I'm taking MAC Kohl eyeliner in the shade Feline and lining my waterline and just smudging that underneath. Now going back in with the Warm Taupe underneath, just to blend out that black. I'm not covering over the black, I'm just going underneath it. I still want that black to remain sticky so that I can get the eyeshadow to show up more later on. Okay, so that colour wasn't really the colour I wanted, so I'm now going in with Blue Brown by MAC, and I'm just lightly dusting that over with the same flat brush all over the eyelid. And that's going to give me more of like a petrol sort of colour, which is the aim of this look. I'm also now putting that pigment on top of the sticky black liner that's underneath, and that's just going to really make the colour pop because it's sticky. So I'm trying out the new Revolution Hyaluronic Fix Fixing Spray. I'm spraying that on a fluffy brush and dipping that into my Peaches Makeup Mermaids. This colour is just absolutely adorable. It's one of my favourite and I am loving it for an inner corner highlight for this look. Always wet pigments, you never get the true colour unless you really dampen the brush or dampen the pigment first. It just gives you much more of a metally kind of look. As always, I'm applying my Anora Beauty eyelashes in the style Portia. They're my favourite, they're so long wearing and they're easy to apply. Also, if you apply my discount code at the checkout, you'll get 20% off your order. I've always loved using an oil underneath my foundation or sometimes mixing it in with the foundation, but I've recently been introduced to this Nux or Noose oil and I love it. I apply it all over the face and neck and especially under the eye to stop it going cakey. I'm also using the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter in the shade 5, which I think is called Tan. And I'm just rubbing that all in with my hands. I want to keep it really dewy, so I am using my hands for this because I want it to just really melt into my skin. I'm applying a couple of pumps of my MAC Studio Fix in the shade NC25 and just softening that out with a damp beauty blender. I don't want a really full coverage look today. And just because I'm really fussy, it was really getting on my nerves, so I've gone back in with the eyeshadow and just lifted the dark slightly because I felt like my eyes looked a bit droopy. So by bringing the dark higher up, it's just lifted my eye slightly. I'm also testing out the new Revolution concealer. Actually, it's not that new, it's been out a while, but everybody says that it's a good dupe of the Tarte Shape Tape. I've never tried Shape Tape, but I've heard it's really good. But when I started to blend this out, I can't say I was that fussed. I feel like it's quite see-through. So yeah, I might have to give this another couple of tries before I can really say much about it. Also, if you're recreating this look, don't put it down the centre of your nose. It's not the look I was trying to go for. It's just such a habit. So you want to go just slightly under the eyes, nothing too light, just a shade lighter than your skin tone, and blend that out, but avoid the centre of your nose. You don't want a highlighted look. Also notice that I'm not taking this concealer all the way up to the eyeshadow. I want to keep it a little bit darker just because it's a grungy look and I don't really want a really highlighted eye. I'm now contouring with my little Old Faithful Bobbi Brown foundation stick in the shade Cool Almond, but instead of going under my cheekbones, I'm actually bronzing with it today. So I'm going over my cheekbones, over the bridge of my nose, all over my forehead and under my lip and on my chin. This is just going to give you much more of a bronze look, and it's not a highlight and contour sort of look at all. It's much more sun-kissed and natural skin-wise. So because most of my blushes are pearlized or shiny, I'm using Huda Beauty Sugar Mama to use as a blusher. Definitely don't put this much on. I went way overboard and had to cover it over a little bit with foundation. So I would probably just use one dip to do the whole thing. Go in then with your damp beauty blender, the same one you use for your foundation, so it just all melts together, and just dab that on your apples of your cheeks. It'll just give you a much more youthful glow. I forgot to say, the Huda Beauty, in case you didn't realise, it is a liquid lipstick, so don't be alarmed if you Google it and it's a lipstick. I've used it as blusher, it's fine. And I've also used it as an eyeshadow base, which works good as well. I'm now setting the bronzer with MAC Give Me Sun. It's quite an orangey bronzer, but it does tend to suit most people, most skin tones. I'm just lightly dusting it over the areas that I used the cream bronzer earlier. I'm now using MAC Next to Nothing powder in the shade Light. This powder is quite unusual. It's like matte, but it's got a bit of a sheen to it, so it doesn't completely dull your skin down, but it does mattify you at the same time. It's really hard to explain. If you looked at it, you'd know what I mean. So I'm just going to set my under eye with that, just to help to stop it creasing slightly. I don't want to really mattify this look. I quite like the creamy texture of it, so I'm just going in the areas that would go quite greasy. I'm darkening my top lashes and thickening the bottom lashes using MAC in Extreme Dimension mascara. I'm redoing the brows now that all the skin is on. I'm just adding some hair strokes. I really don't want these to be too defined. I'm using the NYX brow pencil in ash brown, I think it is. And I'm just drawing some hair strokes in and slightly filling in the ends. Just to give my brows a little bit more texture, I'm going in with the NYX brow gel in shade Espresso and just going over them and brushing them up rather than across. For the lips, I'm using MAC lip liner in the shade Strip Down, and I'm going all around the lip and blending that onto the lip. I'm then going in with Huda Beauty Sugar Mama, the same colour I used on the cheeks, and I'm going in all over the lip and leaving that to dry. I also reapply the lip liner once that's dried so that it just blends a little better. So to say I wasn't nervous about this part would be an understatement. I was, excuse my language, crapping myself. Because every time I seem to try faux freckles, it just goes wrong, or they just look like dots on my face. They don't actually look like freckles. But I haven't tried it this way before, and I've actually gone in with a Zoeva 240 Luxe Petite Pencil brush, I think it is, and a MAC eyeshadow, which is Brune, which is a really deep brown, but it's a cool brown. And I think the size of this brush and the shade, it just works really well. I'd love to know what you think, but this is the best attempt I think I've ever had. I found it best to actually go over my tiny little freckly bumpy things on my face. I just found that a good guideline, and then once I filled all those in, I went in between them. And basically you just want to go for the most random places you can. Obviously you want to concentrate more on the center of the face, because that's where the sun hits your face, and the top half of your face is where it usually hits your face more. But yeah, nobody has them just in one area. They do diffuse out a little. You need to just kind of Google pictures of people who actually have a lot of freckles and just get the gist of them, and that helps. But yeah, I think this time it did actually work out. I'm not sure if I would wear freckles out. I don't think they really suit me, but they suit this look, so I'm happy. Another tip for faux freckles is nobody's freckles are all the same colour. What I found was I would do a layer and then blend it out with a beauty blender lightly. and then go back in and add some more, and then some that were there from the first lot I would go over so they went a bit darker, and add some new ones here and there. So you've always got lots of different depth of the colour of the freckle, which makes it look more natural then. Also the size, some freckles are tiny and some freckles are bigger, so the more different they all look is the more natural it's going to look. And this was the moment I decided to call it a day. Joke, let's do some more. And to finish the skin, I'm going in with the Revolution Hyaluronic Spray to set. This is really bad, but I don't know the name of this lip gloss. It's just got a big H on it, and the shade is Harlow. It's like a peachy, see-through sort of gloss. And here's the finished look. Let me know what you think, guys. Love all your comments and your feedback. Let me know. Bye.